Hello everyone, this is John from Purple Sorcerer Games, and I'm just showing you how I go about preparing paper miniatures. This is, for example, is the sheet that comes with our Perils of the Sunken City adventure. And probably the most important thing from the start is when you print these out, you're going to want to print them on matte photo paper. That's by far the best choice for giving you, I think, the best look and the best thickness. You can just print them out on like white cardstock, and that'll do okay, but you know the quality is not going to be as good. And considering you probably get what 15 miniatures on one sheet for about the 20 cents of the matte photo paper, it's a pretty good deal, and they end up looking really nice. What I find is the easiest approach is to just go and cut them into their sections. So go right here. So that. So now what you want to do is you just want to go on this red score line, and that's where you're going to score it. Now this is probably almost the most important part of the process of being accurate, because if you are scoring that's not right on that center red scoring line, then when you do your fold, you're going to have some issues with them not lining up on the opposite side. So see if I got that. That looks pretty good. So then when you fold it over, now they are ready to glue. Now what I do is I then just go as the whole sheet in one. I'm able to, and you probably can't notice it from the angle of the camera, but when I hold it up against the light like this, I can actually see the outline of the printed stuff. And so I can do a pretty good job of just getting getting the glue where the printing is, and so you don't have to do all the area because it'll spread out once you start rolling it. Now I'm using Beacon 3-in-1 glue here. The advantage of this style glue is that it dries very quickly, but not so quickly that you can't make adjustments, and it also has a very, very low water content, which is important for when you are doing a process like this, so you're not making the paper all soggy. So what I normally do is flip the bad boy over, use my little circular roller tool, and roll over a few times, and voila. Now, once these have dried, which this kind of glue doesn't take very long, you can actually do it. What I like to do is just cut them roughly into shape, and then you just go to the process of just going right along the outline. That's why we print these with these nice thick black outlines, so it gives you a little bit of wiggle room for the folding over, and also the black. And it's kind of like black lining your painted miniatures. It really helps set them off. I think it looks nice, and it also adds a little thickness to some of the thin sections, so you don't have stuff that's just going to easily break off. Now that, again, using this kind of matte photo paper, it really is, especially once it dries. They're pretty sturdy. That they can put up with a little bit of grief on the table, and they're not just going to fall apart on you really quickly. So then just go ahead and chop your way on through. And you can give yourself a little bit of extra room around the black if you want, because when we do the dark pen coming up here in a moment, then you can just darken in the areas that are white. Oops. Too far that time. Okay, so that's the guy that we've gone through and chopped all around. Next, to do the dark penning. Now my favorite pen for this kind of thing is a Sharpie Professional. They're getting harder and harder to find. I think they have less water content than some of the other pens, and so they don't bleed in nearly as far. They also have this really nice chiseled tip, which is, I think, almost perfect for this kind of application that you go through. Now you just do a black line around the edge, and I'm not sure how much it's going to show up on the camera, but I think doing this black edge really makes a nice difference. And so, like, if you have an area where you have a little white you want to cover up, you just use your black pen to fill it in. Voila! Thus we have a paper miniature. And as I show in the other demonstration about making the bases, then once you have one of these base is made. These little guys just slip right in. And there you go. And so that is how I produce the paper miniatures. And I think if you're the kind of person that wants them for your game top, I think they do a good job at very little expense. So there you go.